They are terrible. Yet they're number 1 and number 2 in the world. So what I take my hat off to them because they are geniuses at recovering. And that's what golf is. And the short game is what wins the tournaments. If they say one of the great secrets is turning 3 shots into 2. And that's what Tiger and Phil Mickelson do. When they were in, but think about this for a minute. In golf, 70% of the shots that you play in golf are from 100 yards in. 70%. And that's where they're so good, when they got those wedges, or you see Phil having to hit this high flop shot, or Tiger hitting it, or bunker shot, or chip. It's always chip and a putt, bunker in 1 shot, or lob shot in 1 putt. You guys, chip 2 putts, chip 3 putts. Duff, chip, put it in the bunker, leave it in the bunker, play it
Well, you played with me before.
That's what this guy does, because he doesn't play more than 5 times a week. So
I think it's 90% of my shots are from within 100.
Well, we said this morning, if you had to have probably I think the best swing on the golf tour today is Jason Day.
Right.
I mean, this guy can really play. My goodness me. If you had to have him drive the ball for you and hit all the second shots, and then you take over, if you're a 12 handicap, you'd probably drop down to about a 6. But if you played all the long shots and from 100 yards in let Tiger play for you, you'd be a 2 handicap. So the quickest way to lower your handicap is not to stand here and beat balls all day, but to practice your bunker shots and your chipping and your run-up.
If you were a blonde, you'd be a 0 handicap.
But you know, there's so many shots that you guys never ever play or experience, you know, and that's little shots out of divots where you pinch them. And you hit a shot where it takes 1 bounce, 2 bounce, and then stops. Now you say, how do you do that? But this is what these guys can do. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, stop, and then skid. So all these little shots that go up in the air and stop very quickly. A buried lie or semi. Actually, you know, when you're on the green, there are a lot of things to read. But when you're in a bunker, there are far more things. In a bunker, you cannot believe the firm sand, it's wet, it's dry, it's fluffy, it's above you, it's below you, it's slightly buried, it's completely buried. You've got a perfect lie. Sometimes it's teed up on a piece of sand, high up like that. So the bunker play is something that is really, for me, fascinating. And I spent every morning of my life, I started work at 8 o'clock, but I was in the bunker every morning of my life at 6 o'clock. And I stayed there until I hold 5. Obviously, some mornings I didn't. So if I hold 3 after work, I'd go there, and that day I had to get in 5 if I could. And it stood me in good stead because when you're playing in major championships, they've got those flags round the corners. And if you can play at that flag aggressively and say, well, if I go in the bunker, I know I'm going to get it up and down. Where there was a great golfer, you probably never heard of him, Dr. Kerry Middlecoff. He was he won many majors. But when he got in the bunker, he either left it in there or hit it 30 foot by. He just couldn't play a bunker shot. So he'd always play away from the flag. And had he been a great bunker player, he would have won more majors. So whereas Tiger sees that flag, he shoots it at anywhere because he knows he's going to get it up and down. The same as Phil Mickelson.
Now, am I right in saying you learnt a few things from Norman Van Nyder regarding your bunker play? Because he was obviously a very well-known Australian player, and you used to, obviously, how many Australian Opens did you win? You won
7.
7.
Interesting thing, David. You know, I won the Australian. Jack Nicklaus and I were always fighting it out to see who could win the most Australian Opens, and I still hold the low score with all that lousy equipment and conditioned golf courses. It's still the lowest score ever shot at the Australian Open, and that was 50 years ago. You would think they'd smash that record, because they smash all records with the equipment, just as like Tiger Woods' records now. They're all going to be smashed. Wait until you see LeBron James and Shaq O'Neal and Michael Jordan, the likes of them, turn pro as golf pros out here. I'm telling you something, we haven't seen anything yet. We haven't seen anything. LeBron James is going to drive right over those trees. They already got people hit the ball. Many people that hit the ball 400 yards. Many. I'm trying to tell the RNA and the USGA they got to slow the ball down for pros, not for you guys. You're going to stand on the first hole at St Andrews. The guy's going to stand on the first tee and drive over the green. There are people that can do it now. With Augusta National, that's one of the toughest golf courses in the world. I'm telling you, if a LeBron James kind of strength, the par 5 number 2, he'll hit a drive and a 9. He'll come to number 30. Already this year, Dustin Johnson at the par 5 hit a drive and a 9. I mean, what they're going to do with golf courses, they cannot go back any further. Augusta bought the streets, they bought the houses. They put in there comes a limit. Talking about a practice tee, do you know that they bought the houses in the area and the practice tee cost $100 million?
No, it hasn't got as good a view as this.
No, nowhere near. Nothing like this.
Point G.
Mind you, they might buy this.
Don't tell them.
Can you talk about the mental game a little bit, because all those pros are physically can be 64, but the best do it in the majors, and what was your
Good, I like it. Let's take Tiger Woods and let's take the average pro who's winning tournaments